Story time in honor of Euphoria Season 3 coming out tomorrow. I'm going to tell y'all about the night me and my friends decided to have our own Euphoria night. And it ended up with one of my friends getting arrested. Okay, to start the story off, we were about like 15, 16, and all me and my friends like were party people. Like, we were 21 at 16. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're like, what should we do this week, guys? Like, what's the plan? Where are we drinking? What's the party? And we were like, let's go to our local fair. And this was like literally right when like Euphoria Season 1 came out. Like, this was right after it. So we were like, oh my gosh, the local fair is up. Like, let's do our makeup, rhinestone, glitter, everything, and let's go get fucked up and go to the fair and be like Euphoria. Like, let's be Euphoria. And babe, we were Euphoria. So basically, it was like 7 or 6 of us, and we all decided to meet up at my one friend's house. And by the time I get there, you know, I have my fucking glitter. I'm going to try to insert a picture of the makeup that we wore if I can. It was actually fucking insane, the makeup we had on. Like, it was we were literally like 15, 16. Like, who let us do our makeup like that? Like, we literally looked 25. I looked older doing my makeup then than I do now. So yeah, we all pull up to my friend's house. We're all drenched in fucking glitter, face beat to the fucking gods. And I get to my friend's house, and these bitches bought 5 fucking bottles of Pinnacle. There was 7 of us. And we're all like 100 pounds, not fucking even. Like, who's drinking all this alcohol? Us. So yeah, before we even got to the fucking fair, I think like 3 bottles were gone. So we only, I think, had 2 left. And then the 2 we had, we put into water bottles. And then once we got to the fair, we got these like jugs of lemonade. And then we drank some of it and then put like half of the vodka bottles into each of our lemonades. So then we're walking around the fair drinking even more after we already drank 3 fucking bottles. So let that just sink in. Mind you, we are 15 and 16. We don't have the fucking tolerance to alcohol yet. Like, we were all so fucked up so fucking fast. And then at one point in the night too, I remember we went so this fair was at a baseball field, and then we went behind this dugout and literally smoked behind this dugout. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here, but we literally smoked right behind this dugout at a local fair, and there was cops everywhere. You will not get away with this shit today. Don't try this anymore. You won't get away with this stuff anymore. So by now we're all really fucked up, crossed, running around this fair, and then at one point, here's where it gets interesting, to where my friend gets basically arrested. So me and my one friend, we'll name her Alex, me and Alex are taking shots on this bench, and we just bought these passes, these $20 fucking passes to ride all the rides in the fair, and we didn't even get to use any of it yet because all of our friends have just been drinking, running around, acting fucking crazy. And so we're taking some more shots, and we're like, let's go ride some rides. And then my one friend, let's call her Paige. Paige was sitting at the other end of the dugout. There's 2 dugouts, one over here and one over here. She was sitting in the one over here, and she saw us and was like, oh my god, guys. And then she's so fucking blackout drunk. She woke up out of being sleep. She wakes up and she's like, oh my gosh, guys. And then she tries to come over to our side of the dugout because it's on the other side. And then she literally is so drunk, she walks into the fucking fence. She walks in the fucking fence. She's banging on the fence, and there's people around us that are looking at us what is this girl on? She's on 5 bottles of fucking vodka. That's what she's on. So then hold up. So then she comes to our side of the dugout and then literally collapses on the fucking ground. And me and my friend Alex are like, oh, we need to get her up. She can't be laying on the ground where there's a fucking fair happening. People are gonna know she's publicly intoxicated. So we get her up off the ground and we set her on the bench, and we're just waiting there with her, and we're like, fuck, we want to go ride the rides. We just spent $20 for this fucking wristband. We want to go ride some rides. Then this girl I knew from high school that was sober, wasn't drunk, comes over, and she's like, hey, what's up? Is she really fucked up? I'll watch Paige for y'all so you guys can go ride some rides. So this friend from high school is watching Paige so she can ride some rides, or so me and my friend Alex can go ride some rides, and that's what me and Alex do. So me and Alex are riding rides, having the fucking time of our life. Like, I'm literally euphoria. We are euphoria. Like, I need to try and insert one of the pictures of our makeup. We were literally, I was like 15, 16, tits out, makeup all over my face, drunk as hell, having the time of my life. But, so once we get done, me and Alex riding our rides that we wanted to ride, we go over to check on Paige. So as we're walking over, we see at the ends of, like, the dugout where the dugout is, we see fucking four people standing around her with fucking police on the back. And me and Alex look at each other and we're like, oh, she's done for. She's done for. Somebody definitely saw when she was, like, banging on the dugout and, like, fell over. Like, somebody definitely fucking saw her. And then I remember she told us that whenever the cops found her, she, like, stood up and she had, like, a fluffy cheetah bag with her. And she threw up in the fluffy bag in front of the cops. But basically, they just called her parents, and I think she, like, literally got a ticket because we were, like, fucking 15, 16. Like, they really couldn't do much because we were so young. But yeah, note to self, actually, I'm not telling y'all to do it, but, like, it's really fun to put glitter on your face and get drunk with your friends at your local fair. I don't regret it, and I don't think any of us regret it. That was a great memory.
Okay, it's time for me to do my annual retelling of how my high school bully watched me get into a car accident, which led to us getting married. I'll just start from the very beginning. So we met for the very first time on October 7th of 2016. Keep that date in mind. I was in 9th grade and he was in 10th grade. Where we're from, 9th grade is in junior high, 10th grade is in high school. So at this point, we were not going to school together. Our best friends were dating each other at the time, so they introduced us. We hit it off immediately. This was kind of the beginning of our situationship. We talked on and off for almost an entire year. Fast forward to the summer before my 10th grade year, we talked every single day. We hung out a few times. He was coming and watching me cheer at the football games. It definitely was heading in the direction of a relationship, and we were about to go to school together for the very first time. Tell me why. The night before school starts, he texts me, basically just, like, ends things. He's like, I'm not ready for a relationship. Come to find out, that was literally his friends doing. This time, I was very mad. I was like, this situationship is over. That ship has sailed. I'm never talking to him again. Not only did I just waste my entire summer talking to you, but now we're about to go to school together, so I'm gonna be forced to see you every single day, and it's gonna be so awkward because we have mutual friends. For the first 2 weeks of school, we would just avoid each other, constantly running into each other in the hallways. Things were just awkward, but we didn't, like, hate each other. Until he had these friends, they weren't necessarily in his friend group, started to pursue me and one of my other friends. We ended up rejecting them. Let's just say they did not take well to that. They're the ones that actually started making fun of us, and it was incessant, calling us names, came up with, like, cartoon characters that they were comparing us to, like, very rude. Eventually Lucas started joining in. I remember he would literally film me in the hallways and, like, post it on his Snapchat story, and it didn't really bother me when his friends would do it, but it hit different when Lucas would do it because low-key still have feelings. So this goes on for about 2 months. I can't remember what triggered this, but there was one day after school that I was like, I am done. I've had enough. So I went home and I blocked him on Instagram, but not on Snapchat. Again, keep that in mind. So at this point, it's late November. I go out to lunch one day with my mom and sister, and I am just ranting to them about this whole situation with Lucas. I was telling them about how this boy was bothering me at school, but we used to like each other, and how I was so annoyed and how I blocked him. As we round the corner, I look to my right. You'll never guess who I see. I'll give you one guess. Yeah, it was Lucas. Tell my mom and sister that's literally him right there. So when my sister hears this, the comedian she is, she goes, watch this. Starts rolling down her window. No. I knew immediately what she was up to. So I duck down. Sure enough, she starts yelling his name at him. Next thing I know, hear this huge crash. I am jolted forward with so much force. My head is hurting. I look up and this is the very first thing I see. What happened is we were going through a parking lot and a car was speeding through the parking stalls, so we T-boned them and they, like, spin out. No one was hurt, but it was so loud and dramatic. I am mortified. Not exaggerating, I literally started praying that Lucas and his friend wouldn't come over to check on us. Luckily, some other bystanders beat him to it. So after Lucas goes in the store that he was originally walking in, I got out of the car and, like a dramatic 15-year-old does, I took a picture of the car accident and posted it on my Snapchat story. And like I said, he was blocked on Instagram but not on Snapchat. He slides up on my story. Oh my gosh, I just saw this. Are you okay? That was insane. He's checking on me. He's asking me all these questions to know if I'm okay and all this stuff. And I was like, Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you still care about me. So the car accident changed everything for us. He stopped teasing me at school. I unblocked him on Instagram, would go as far as to say that we were friends again, but I did not want to date him. Fast forward a month, one of my really close friends and one of his really close friends wanted to go on a date. They were kind of shy with each other. My friend would only agree to go on this date if it were a double date. Me and Lucas had to go on the double date with them. I was my friend's only single friend. Lucas was his friend's only single friend at the time. I tell my friend no. I'm like, sorry, find someone else, not happening. And she low-key begs me for like weeks, and I was like, okay, fine. Fine, I will go on one date and then you're on your own. So that Friday rolls around and we go on this date. What do you know? I had a great time. They had the whole night planned for us. It was so much fun. I was laughing the entire night. Lucas was being so nice and funny. It was a really good date. I couldn't deny it, even though I wanted to. So the night ends. They ask us to go on another double date, and then another, and another, and another. And we end up spending almost the entire Christmas break together. Yes, Lucas did apologize to me at this point. We started hanging out one-on-one. He would come watch me cheer at the basketball games. We went to a school dance together, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend, and this time I said yes, and we just never stopped dating. And then he asked me to marry him, and once again I said yes. This is us on our wedding day on October 7th, 2022, the anniversary of the day we very first met. We love our life together. It's so much fun. And that is the story time of how we went from enemies to lovers. For all of those who are mad at me, heaven forbid a girl love thy enemy. That's all I gotta say.
Short story long, I had a roommate several years ago, and when I first met her, she told me she was engaged. And oh my gosh, how exciting, right? Told me literally every single detail. I love to hear an engagement story. Who doesn't? Exactly. So I asked for every little detail. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did he do it? What did he say? How long have you been engaged? When's the wedding? She had no details. She said, oh, I don't know about you, but when I say I'm engaged, I want you to ask to see the ring. I want you to ask how he did it. And I'm going to tell you all about it whether you want to or not. And so I was kind of surprised when she was like, why'd you tell me you were engaged if you didn't want me to ask questions? I'm a yapper. I want to ask questions. I want to know every single thing. And so she was kind of like, and I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Do you not like him? Do you not want to be? You could have said no. So anyway, time marches on and I can't figure it out. She's not wearing a ring. And I was like, okay, so you are engaged or you're not engaged? Are you engaged to a person or are you engaged in a crime? Like, I don't know, not to judge. And so I asked a mutual friend of ours, I was like, so the engagement thing, like, why is should I not ask about the engagement? And she was like, the engagement? I was like, yeah, you seem concerned. And she was like, is she doing that thing again? That thing again? And I obviously had some follow-up questions, so I said, what do you mean that thing again? She said, going around telling everybody she's engaged. I said, okay, so she does this. Is she not? Is there a man? And she's like, well, there is a man, but they're long distance, and I don't really think that they're dating. And I said, because they're engaged? She said, no. Okay, then how did we get from here to there? I just gotta know. And so I was like, well, what are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, I mean, like, they're kind of dating, and, like, she really seems to be more into it than he is. And I was like, okay, well, like, how do you kind of get from kind of sort of dating to engaged? And she was like, well, she's planning a wedding. And I was like, no, I know, but how is she planning a wedding if you never asked? And she was like, well, that's a good question, none of us know. But we had to have a talk with her a while ago, and she's apparently doing it again. And I was like, I don't mean to stir up any drama necessarily, but what do you mean? And so she was like, okay, well, I'll talk to her. So she talks to her. Oh, yep, we're engaged. What are you talking about? No, he really did propose. And so I'm like, okay, maybe they are. And so I'm obviously living with her. You know, we have very close, our rooms are close together. Everything's great. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll kind of investigate this kind of story. And so I'm like, okay, well, like, tell me more about him. Like, tell me more about, like, how you guys started dating. She asked him to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Totally fine. Love that, but this is just, you know. Then I'm like, okay, well, then who proposed? Well, he did. My source says you're wrong. And so she's like, well, he asked me. And I was like, okay, are you sure? Are you sure? And she was like, yeah, like, it was really sweet. And I said, okay, tell me about it. No. Okay. Then I don't really know what happened. Not to call her a liar, but she is lying. And so anyway, time marches on still.
And so I'm talking months go by. I'm talking some time has passed. And so she's still like, yeah, we're engaged, we're engaged. She's telling other people. Everybody's like, tell me about how you got engaged. She's like, no. So it's just kind of strange. So they do FaceTime one night. And I'm sitting just a room over, and I'm eavesdropping, obviously. I'm trying not to, but it was a very small space. I wasn't trying not to, you know. And so I hear them have this conversation, and, you know, they're just chatting for a while, and then she starts talking about their wedding. And he says, what wedding? I'm listening. And so she's like, what do you mean, our wedding? And he said, please stop doing this. I never proposed to you. I'm on high alert. I'm listening at the door. And so he's like, I never proposed to you. If I wanted to marry you, I would have asked you. You'd have a ring on your finger. Okay. I'm thinking, okay, well, this is getting through to her. And he's like, so you need to stop telling people that we're engaged. And so she's crying. And now I feel really bad because I'm like, well, this is terrible. This is awful. She's so upset. Who wouldn't be? You know, you think you're engaged and then you're not. Well, you know, most people know when they're not or when they are. And so she's upset. She's crying. I'm full blown, okay, I'm your roommate now. I'm going to comfort you when you come in here. A few minutes go by. They get off the call. She comes in. She's obviously been crying. Aside from the fact that I just heard her, you could tell. So I'm like, oh my gosh, is everything okay? Is something wrong? She goes, no, nothing's wrong. And I was like, okay, you know, she doesn't want to tell me. That's totally okay. So she sits down and she starts showing me some portfolios, or, you know, I don't really know what they're called, portfolios maybe, of photographers. And I was like, oh, that's a great photographer. That's a great photographer. What are we looking for? She was like, for the wedding. For whose wedding? And so I said, oh, for your wedding? And she was like, yeah, I really need to get to planning. It's coming soon. Am I being pranked? Am I being punked? Is he in the next room? Is somebody watching me? Because what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to say, I was actually eavesdropping your entire phone call, and no, you're not? So anyway, they have another conversation. She keeps texting him. She's like, wedding stuff, wedding stuff. He eventually says, don't talk to me anymore. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. Okay. So a few days go by, and every single day, I'm looking over her shoulder. And she's texting him, texting. No responses. He's read them, hasn't answered. Days, texting. And then one day she goes, he hasn't really texted me back lately. Yeah, I wonder why. Should I text him again? No, you shouldn't. And she was like, I just think that I need to call him. I said, have you tried to call him? She said, yeah, a few times. I said, oh, maybe he just needs some space. She said, why would he need space? We're planning a wedding. That's the problem. You're not. And that was just really tough for me. And a lot of people that were, you know, they knew the situation. They were like, that's so crazy anyway. And I was like, no, I've got to live here. I don't know what to do. She thinks she's engaged. She's not. Is that my responsibility? And they were like, no, don't worry about it. Well, eventually time came. We both moved out. They're married. I don't really know how they got there, but they are married now, so.
What would you do if a guy you barely know waited for you outside of your house for 7+ hours? Because I had police on dial. This one guy I met had asked me out on a date, and he was literally so my type. And mind you, I have a history of dates with guys that are my type not going well, but I thought I will be delusional for one last time. It was not the last time. But honestly, I was so excited for the date because it was like a cute casual cafe date. And I know now I should not trust my judgment, but he seemed like a nice person. Girl, the second we sat down, it became clear this was not a date. This was a one-man show. This man started trauma dumping immediately. There was zero small talk. I'm talking our ice Americano orders haven't even arrived yet. He just went straight into generational trauma, toxic exes, how his mama never loved him, and just this whole existential spiral, all within the first 20 minutes. And like, I appreciate a good deep talk, but we literally just met. And I was trying to be a decent human being, so I was trying to be like sympathetic, and I was just like sitting there like, The worst part was he didn't ask me a single question. Like, it wasn't a discussion, it was just him straight up trauma dumping and using our date as a therapy session. He didn't ask me a single thing about me. Nada. I just sat there nodding like a therapist that forgot to sign an NDA. I barely spoke the entire night. I mean, at least I didn't have to carry the conversation, I guess. And when we got out of the cafe, it was already pretty dark, and I was like, you know what? I need to go home. And he obviously offered to walk me home, and I was like, yeah, no, you know what? Just walk me to the subway station and I will be off. You don't have to. The walk to the subway station was 15 minutes, but it felt like 3 hours. He was talking and he was just going on and on and on about these horrible things that happened in his life. And then as we're approaching the subway station, he suddenly starts getting very quiet and very like serious. The mood goes very like silent and serious. I'm like, what's going on? This is kind of scary. This is unlike you. So we approach the subway station and we're about to part our ways, and he looks at me very seriously and he's like, I have to tell you something. And I'm just standing there like, oh really? Like, you haven't told me enough yet, have you? He looks me dead serious in my eyes and goes, I think I'm in love with you. I want you to be my girlfriend. Huh? Now, I knew there was gonna be something crazy coming out of his mouth, but sir, you're in love with me? What exactly are you in love with? What's my favorite color? Quick! You don't know! You don't know! You didn't even ask me a single question! He literally asked me to be his girlfriend after that therapy session that he mistook for a date. And because I was so shocked by this whole situation and I was still kind of struggling with boundaries, instead of saying hell no like a normal person would, I said I need time to think. What was I thinking? That was my cue to run and I fumbled it. He seemed really sad and upset that I said I needed time to think and didn't immediately jump into his arms. But it's whatever. We parted ways and he immediately started texting me. Like, he was on it. He was texting me. And he said he was gonna give me time to think, but he was not giving me time. He was asking me literally the next morning, have you thought about it yet? Not gonna lie, I was feeling very uncomfortable because I did not know how to handle this situation. But I started texting him less and just like saying that I'm busy, being very unavailable situation woman in man feels. Then eventually I ended up actually rejecting him over text because I did not want to see this man again. And he was so crushed that he was begging me to meet him, and I was like, I'm not meeting you. But this guy, he ended up finding out where I live. Which, hello, that's super creepy. That's scary. He was calling me, texting me, saying that he's outside of my house and begging me to come meet him. Since I wasn't home, I eventually decided that, okay, I need to go home somehow. I don't want to call the police on him yet, but like, I will go there and talk to him and just have the police on dial just in case. I come over there, he sees me and he starts crying. Like, I'm talking bawling his eyes out. He was like, where have you been? I've missed you so much. Like, can we just talk? You know, the whole drill. And I was dumb because I was trying to like give him a reality check and being like, dude, you don't even know me. We literally met for 1 hour, had one date, and I just rejected you. Like, what's going on? And he was there crying and telling me how special I am, how he has never met another girl so special like me, and how he immediately knew he was in love with me and how he will never find anybody else like me. What in the love bombing was going on? If you're gonna love bomb me, at least like give me money or something. Like, he was crying as if I got a divorce with him after living together for 30 years and having 3 kids. Sir, you don't even know me! Like, tell me exactly what you fell in love with. It was probably my facial expressions and very passive listening skills. And looking back on it now, I should have definitely sent him a bill after the date for emotional labor. And I might not be a certified therapist, but after that date, I felt like I was.
My husband's upset that I gave him permission to get with my best friend. Story time. So my best friend, who we'll call Amy, is a single girly. And she low-key has more in common with my husband, who we'll call Steve. Both of them are incredibly positive people with an amazing sense of humour. And I have never ever seen these guys be flirtatious with each other other than like a quick hello here and there. They were always very, very respectful of each other. So this did come as a little bit of a shock to me when I heard what they had to say. Steve insisted that he loved me and that this was no more than just a physical attraction and that they didn't want to do anything behind my back. So how it it all went down is they'd come to me that day and asked if, they could be together. I genuinely think that they thought they weren't doing anything wrong by asking and telling me first. I think they think it's easier on their conscience, and if they told me, it wouldn't be classed as cheating. So this whole thing probably did shock them a little bit when I burst into tears. Amy immediately started crying and apologising. She was saying how she would never do anything if I didn't agree to it first. And she left pretty damn quick after that. After this, I couldn't even look at Steve. I immediately packed up my bags and went to live with my family for a bit. After a short while, I really did start to regret leaving, and Steve was calling me literally all the time. I asked him if he has ever done anything to upset me. I asked if they had had an affair, and he just completely denied it. So eventually, I decided that I was going to move back in with Steve. And we started discussing this proposal. And I finally agreed. He kept reassuring me that it was all just physical. Fast forward to now, and all I know is that the deed has been done. And Steve even offered to tell me about it, but babe, I do not want to know. And at first, Steve was extremely happy. He had got a little spring in his step. Recently, he has started to get a little bit more depressed. Steve is going about complaining that I've changed and that he misses the old me. He was also really upset that I wouldn't let him tell me what had been going on with Amy. It even got to the point where I told him I would give him an unlimited pass if he stopped bringing it up. And now this man is flat out blaming me for the change in our relationship. He says I've tricked him. There are so many ongoing issues, and I told Steve, listen, I feel like you probably need to go to therapy for your depression, but he was like, you just don't get it. So at what point do I just say enough is enough?